So I'm trying not to freak out about the earthquake deal. That's pretty terrifying. What do you think? This is aren't you the legislature or something? What do you do?
I am. I'm a state legislator. I think it's terrible. I think we got to get to work on it.
Do you have to cross a bridge to get to work?
I do, several.
Several?
Yes.
Which one scares you the most?
Probably the ones on I-5.
On I-5?
Yes.
You're not going to name a particular one?
Well, I go from Beaverton.
Because I want to try to avoid the ones you're most afraid of.
Well, I'm very scared about the Columbia River crossing.
Really? Great. So how was your commute today?
Today was fine.
Well, that's no help. You're supposed to say it was terrible so that you could support the, never mind. This is Representative Tobias Reed from here in Portland. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it is once again my pleasure to bring your attention over here. So now one thing I already told you about John Carter's earlier life as a rodeo champ. What you don't know is that he started out actually as an actor. He studied acting and then ended up running a steel company. I'm not exactly sure how. But if you will please welcome back to the stage the chairman of the Oregon Business Plan, John Carter.
Thank you, Chris. Well, I hope what you've all heard about infrastructure has convinced you how important it is to the state and for access to our international markets that we invest in infrastructure. It's a good time. Interest rates are low. Won't always stay that way. People have been saying that for years, but it's still possibly true. And we need to support the expansion and betterment of our infrastructure, not just the bits and bytes, but also the fact that we still manufacture things and grow things that need to be physically moved. You heard earlier from Gary Neal and Bill Wyatt about the need to invest in ports. My brother Jim asked me to make sure I said that. But you also need to understand how important it is with all the other forms of infrastructure we've had. So today, and in your packet is our 2015 infrastructure agenda, which is pretty ambitious, but we think it can be done. But you're going to hear today from two leaders who are going to be critical to the state's investment in infrastructure, and we're looking forward to their insights into it. I'd like to introduce first Tina Kotek, representing North Portland, who is beginning her second term as Speaker of the House. And I'd also like to introduce Senator Peter Courtney, a pleasure that Malia Wasson normally has, but I was nominated for that this year, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Senator Peter Courtney, the Senate President, America's longest serving Senate President. So let's ask them to give us some insight as to what their plans are for infrastructure this year. Welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little tall. Well, I hope you've had a chance to digest your lunch. I want to thank Commissioner Tammy Bainey for getting the most laughs on infrastructure over the lunch hour. So congratulations, Commissioner Bainey. Yes, I think that deserves a round of applause. Yes. Who knew that transportation was about moving beer? So it's a real pleasure to be here today. I commend the organizers of the summit for putting a very, somewhat dull topic, but important topic over the lunch hour of infrastructure and transportation. Senate President and I are here today to talk about our hopes for the upcoming legislature as it relates to infrastructure. As we've just heard over the last hour or so, there is a compelling case for the importance of infrastructure. It is not shiny, it is not fancy, but it is absolutely necessary for the state of Oregon to continue to prosper and to grow into the future. And we have had a lot of past success here in the state in investing in infrastructure. In the upcoming session, we anticipate very rigorous conversations to fund, through bonding or general fund, a variety of infrastructure demands on our state. But the one I'd like to talk about today is transportation in particular. Transportation infrastructure is not a partisan issue. It's also one of my favorite issues because it addresses every corner of our state. We are a state that makes things. We are a state that grows things. We are a state that wants to move product. We are a state that wants to move people. We want to export goods to other parts of the world. That takes a very stable and consistent and dependable transportation infrastructure. We have had a lot of success in this state. Many of you are familiar with the OTIA investments over the last 20 years, OTIA 1, 2, and 3. OTIA 1, the Oregon Transportation Investment Act. With local match, we were able to do $672 million worth of projects, 170 projects around the state under OTIA 1 and 2. Under OTIA 3, $2.46 billion were bonded. Invested across the state for 300 state bridges, 140 local bridges, maintenance issues, and innovation to transform our infrastructure. In 2009, we passed the Jobs and Transportation Act. $960 million, 50 projects around the state, putting people to work, building our infrastructure, creating a future for our state. We are at the point in our state where that pipeline is dry. We cannot depend on Congress to figure it out. They will do their part, hopefully, but we need to control our destiny in this state around transportation infrastructure. And the time is now to put people to work now, to build the infrastructure we need for the future, in our highways, in our rail, in our multimodal, in our transit, and all those types of ways to move people and product in this state. And what the Senate President and I are very interested in doing is doing a transportation package in the 2015 session. But we can't do it without you, the folks in this room and the folks across the state who would like to see that done. And my ask of you is to show us that you want to get this done over the course of the next 5 to 6 months. We need your help. We need your commitment. We need a common will and a common goal to fund a transportation package. That means revenue. That means a political will to stand up together and do that. As I've said, I don't believe transportation infrastructure is a partisan issue. And on the House side, we have Representatives Bentz, Representatives Davis, Representative McEwen, and Representative Reed, a bipartisan group of representatives who are transportation experts who are willing to push a package, but we will need your help. And so I hope you will join House leadership in working on a transportation in the 2015 session. And with that, my colleague in the Senate, the presiding officer of great length and great expertise, Senate President Peter Courtney.
Well, this is the most unnatural speaking position I've ever had in my life. I don't know whether I'm on the side of the room, in the front of the room, the back of the room. I don't know where I am right now, so I don't know who thought this thing up. But it's a real piece of work, so it's just really a thrill to be here. Duncan Weiss and his little party, they sent me an agenda. No, even an ant can't read this print. This is the tiniest print in the world that I've ever seen in my life. So my staff blew it up. Now I know you've got a really big agenda now, so I can read something. This is just, So really thank John Carter for that in-depth introduction of myself. Appreciate that. It's always a pleasure to be on a podium with Tina Louise. You didn't know this, but this is the first time in the history of life that the middle name for Tina was made known. I was told up till moments ago Tina had no middle name. Tina confessed to me she has a middle name, and I'm here to announce it. Although it's a heck of a group to announce it in front of. It's not, well, it's an interesting group. It's Tina Louise. Tina Louise and I have many middle names. Tina didn't bother mentioning those, and neither did John, so I'm not going to tell you those, but Tina and I have something in common. Do you know what it is? No, it's not middle name, smart Alec. Tina and I were born in Philadelphia, in the same hospital, but she was there after me. I know why you're laughing. Actually, I have no idea what hospital she was born in Philadelphia, but I know she was born there. At my age, you get to make up things when you're giving speeches. I want to thank you for allowing Tina and I to share a microphone. Everybody else, I'm sure your federales this morning, they got their own microphone. The statewiders they stand up front, Tina and I on the side somewhere. I'm surprised you didn't have us out in the hall. A lot of respect. I feel real good about this year myself, Tina. I got my ring. I'm so proud I got my ring. It's going to change different colors as I speak. You notice those people back there, they gave me a ring. I'm so happy. This is the only time in my life I've been given a ring. I don't wear watches. I don't wear bracelets. I got a ring, dog, my first ring. And before I got serious here in a minute, I had a wedding anniversary, not that any of you care, on Friday. My wife says, you know, we've been married a long time. We ought to just do something, go to the coast. I said, that's good. So we went over and checked in at a Motel 2. Think about that, folks. There's 6s, there's no 2s, but I'm a Democrat. And then the good senator from Pendleton, Eastern Oregon, Bill Hansel, proceeded to completely ruin my wedding anniversary. That and our miniature dachshund, our wiener dog, Dilly. Don't ever take a wiener dog when you're celebrating your wedding anniversary. Well, I guess you're out there. I guess it's not all profile. I'm on every screen in the building. Why am I not over there? I want to be over there. If I'm going to be on, let me go big, buddy. Yeah, thank you. I'm over there. Now I feel good. I feel good. I like it. God, I feel really good. Just feel so good. Geez, I'm not bad. That's good looking. I look pretty good. I like it.
Transportation, Peter.
Oh, transportation. We need conferences. We need seminars. We need to hear from you. We need to hear from experts. We need to talk to each other. We need to build consensus, make plans. But at 12:01 a.m. later today, next morning, it will be Wednesday. Because day follows night, night follows day. Tuesday will be over. The chairs, the tables in this room will be arranged for a next seminar or conference. Rah-rahs are good. We need to let out our positive emotions that come from events like this. We need the good intentions. We need the pregame speeches before the big game. We need the game plan to be up on the drawing boards. But tomorrow is more important to me than today. Tomorrow is much more important to me and to the Speaker of the House, although I am not speaking for her, I will, than today. The landing craft is about to land on Omaha Beach. The hurricane is about to come on shore. We're about to enter into Class 5 whitewater. Things are about to get real. Theorists are important. They play a key role. I am not a theorist. And dare I say, as brilliant as she is, for purposes of this speech and this talk, Tina Louise is not a theorist. I am a public policy maker. I make public policy. That's what I do. And you don't usually hear people say that. You don't see or hear local elected officials say that. Tina and I make public policy. That is what we do in the legislature. We make public policy. It's interesting, the previous speaker spoke about a long time ago. In 1913, so long ago, the legislature created the State Highway Department to the slogan. Do you know what the slogan was? Get Oregon out of the mud. Get Oregon out of the mud. Thanks. This was the Highway Department's slogan until 1957. I don't know what happened after 57. Oregon was the first state to charge a gas tax in 1919 to get Oregon out of the mud. Voters almost always vote down transportation funding ballot measures. That's why they are not put on the ballot. At best, they fail by 3-to-1 margins and have failed by margins as much 8-to-1. Recent examples. In 2000, voters rejected a gas tax increase by 87% to 13%. In 2011, Clackamas County voters rejected a fee to partially fund the construction of the Selwood Bridge. Gas taxes and vehicle registration have failed on the ballot more than a dozen times. That's why hard votes fall to the Oregon legislature. The only votes fall to the Oregon legislatures. Get Oregon out of the mud. In the House, you can call for a vote, and you've got 30 seconds to make that hard vote. In the Senate, they call your name, you better answer. You don't move on to the next senator. That's all the time when it's time for the hard vote, the hard vote. But long before we get to counting these votes, counting to 18, not 16, 36, not 31, supermajorities, our process, unlike a lot of states, is based on a committee structure. That is very important for Oregonians, if you understand. Many legislatures do not do it this way. We make public policy in our subcommittees and our committees long before you get to the hard vote, which has often happened already in a subcommittee or in a full committee, long before you get to the hard vote on that Senate floor or that House floor. It's very simple. If we're going to have these votes on the floor in the Senate, then you have seminars and you have conferences. We are, whether you know it or not, already deep in the game. You might say we have 6 months, since basically we have to adjourn by July 9th, midnight. This is January 6th. So you say we have 6 months. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. That's not how legislature sees things. We're already behind on the issue of transportation infrastructure for 2015. We are behind on transit infrastructure in the session 2015. We should have a plan and a way to pay for it. We do not. We should already be starting to count votes. We have not. Make no mistake about it. I don't have to talk about bipartisan, nonpartisan. There will be no vote on transportation unless Republicans, Democrats, rural, urban, suburban, every geographic part of Oregon is there. It will not happen. And please remember, we're not dealing with ballot measures here. I've already given you that little painful history to get Oregon out of the mud. This is not a trick. This is not criticism. And if I've offended any of you, trust me, I apologize profusely. But Tina and I were given a role here today, the role of reality, the role of public policy makers. It's called reality. That's the thing about conferences and summits. This is the best. Good job, OBC. Don't take it personal. This is about to get tough. The distance between here and action is huge for public policy makers. It is huge. What's the magnitude of the thing? It's maybe almost a mission impossible. We can get it done, but this is what the good speaker spoke to you about. Her message speaks to your hearts, speaks to your minds, and speaks to everything you are. We need your help. It's very simple. We're not getting there. We're not going to make the public policy, be it a sub or full committee, House, Senate floor, without your help. And I'm not leaving anybody out of that in this room. Anybody. You're all in it. We're all in it. We need you to want to make it a reality as much as you want to talk about it. Do not take that personally. Duncan, do not go crazy. I don't mean to insult you. But Lord knows I know how much work goes into this event. Just look at this place. You got a light on my finger. So I know how much you put into this, and it shows. Well done. Build consensus, and it's very important to draw up a plan, because in the end, it's not up to me, and it's not up to Tina. It will only happen if you want it bad enough, if we want it bad enough, if we're willing to get Oregon out of the mud. Thank you.